to get some Arsenal reaction. Who better to speak to than the match winner, Gabriel Martinelli, who's waiting to talk to us. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Very well done. What did that feel like at the end, Gabriel?
Thank you. Yeah, it feels great to be back and win a game like that. We know how tough it is to play against them, and yeah, so happy with the victory and to be back with the. We know how tough it is to play against them, and yeah, so happy with the victory and to be back with the to come in. I was waiting for this moment since the day I picked the injury, and yeah, I was so happy to come in and happier with my performance in the team as well when they win.
Gabriel, it's great to see you back on the football pitch. What were your instructions when the manager sent you on?
To be fair, he just said, go there and do your thing, you know. Just do what you normally do.
Hola Gaby, soy Cesc. Felicidades. My question to you is, do you visualize the game when you are on the bench? Do you think what your strengths are? When you have to face someone like Walker, what is your mentality?
Hey Cesc, good to speak to you. Yeah, of course, I was on the bench with the players and Fab was next to me. I was always talking to him and visualizing what could I do when I come in, and this is what I did. And I tried to do my best when I come in, and I think it worked.
And at the end, Gabriel, the message is just keep going. I mean, if you don't shoot, you don't score.
Yeah, that's it. If you don't shoot, you don't score.
No.
Right, Gabriel, Sean Wright Phillips there. I enjoyed watching you play. I'm gutted you scored, obviously, today. But when you come up against a player like Walcott in general, who's quick, powerful, how do you think about moving him around? Or do you just stay wide and let him tuck in?
I always try to give space to myself, you know, because I know that he's quick and he's strong as well. So I try to be away from him, and I know my qualities. And if I'm 1v1, I trust myself and just try to do my game, you know.
Gabriel, finally, your manager's been talking about this record, 12 consecutive defeats against Arsenal. It's about December 2015 since you last beat them in the Premier League against Manchester City, obviously. What does it do for belief, mentality within your dressing room to beat the treble winners today?
When you play for Arsenal, you need to have this mentality, you know. We have to win every single game and try to win every tournament that we are in, you know, and this is our mentality and this is what we are trying to do.
Well, you've done it today. Brilliant effort. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Gabriel Martinelli live for you from the Emirates. Just before we talk about Manchester, just a quick one on the mentality. We touched on it right at the start. If they could do it, what it would do to that young group? I think it just will bring even more positivity. I know how much they want to win the Premier League. As I mentioned before, I've been at the training ground recently, and I know that they are waiting to put that trophy. I can smell it, that they are all waiting for that moment, and they are working towards it in a very passionate way. They're doing quick. I think it's closer than it's ever been for the last, I would say, 12 to 15 years. Let's get back to what Pep was saying. As I say, December 2018, the last time they lost back-to-back Premier League games. You know what they did after that? They won 19 of the next 20. So we're still very early on. Is that a message for the rest? Don't get too excited. This is the champions of 5 of the last 6 seasons.
I said it to you before when we was just talking, just in the green room before, and I said to you, like, I don't think it's as big a game yet as, say, it would have been maybe November or December. I think it's come really early in the season. Obviously, for Arsenal, and that reason is not winning in so many games to beat the treble winners. It's massive in respects of that. But in terms of the league table, there's so much time and so much games to go. There's a lot of teams in and around it now that both of these teams most probably will still drop points from. Hopefully not, but I think it's going to be open.
I think it's more about the emotional.
Yeah, I have to agree with you.
Emotionally, it's just an important game, not about so much the points or where you are on the table now, but emotionally, this is a big game for Arsenal, I think.
Michael?
Yeah, I think so. I think more so than the points, the belief that that'll give these Arsenal players. You know, it was their first season really last season when they could sniff, you know, winning the league. And they went a decent length of time where you're thinking, are they going to be able to hang on? It was a good title race for them, but they did fall away at the end. So I think now, you know, beating Manchester City in a one-off game will give them that belief that they can become champions. So the 3 points are great. You know, they tally up and they're joint top of the table. But I think the buzz around the place for just beating Manchester City will be even more important than that.
But there won't be too much concern about back-to-back Premier League defeats we've mentioned. It doesn't happen very often because of the high standards. It's only 3 times now under Pep alone.
No, I don't think there'll be too much concern. Like I said, they didn't create a lot of chances. Neither team did. I don't necessarily think I thought they played quite well. In that tactical situation, they just got a goal that was deflected. And like I said, they earned that. But for me, I think this may wake them up more and make them even hungrier than they are to try and emulate it and try and win a Premier League again, because now they know there are teams that are going to beat them in that manner in the top half, in the top 3 of that table, I think.
We highlighted before the game, didn't we, the effect that Rodri has on this team. And it just shows you, I mean, Pep Guardiola spoke about it. He's almost used 3 men to almost, you know, negate the gap that Rodri's left there today. If Rodri was fit, I would have thought that Manchester City would play their normal way, quite expansive, quite open, a lot braver. I thought they were probably not as brave as they normally are today. I mean, Haaland hardly got a kick. He certainly didn't get a chance.
Haaland, for the second time in the Premier League, hasn't had an attempt on target since he signed for Manchester City.
And I think that is a knock-on effect of them having to withdraw players from attacking positions. As we spoke about before, they lacked the width. They started bringing players inside to just compete in that midfield area. Rodri's not here. We might need 2 or 3 players instead then to just beef that area up. And all of a sudden, that's got to take effect somewhere on the pitch. And that's what they did. They almost, you know, said, right, OK, from an attack point of view, we're going to be less dangerous. And that's what it looked like. So I think he would have grabbed a draw and ran today, the way he set up his team. But again, just go back to it. The influence that Rodri has on this team is huge.
They've lost 5 of the last 10 without him. He's just missed 3 in all competitions. They've lost them all.
Yeah, I mean, he is where he is at the moment for a reason. Last year he won the treble, then he went away with Spain.
I'm sure you'll mention the Spain trophy.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, his quality, he's improved a lot. He's a leader now. The consistency he's got in his performance, but not only that, being on the pitch, the teammates, you know, they look up to you. And yeah, a big miss, but considering the squad that Man City have, you know, and the amount of money that they spend, they should have, you know, a straight replacement, which probably it was Calvin Phillips. When you see him, they put Bernardo Silva as a number 6 when he's an offensive player. So to change the whole tactics around one player for a club of the state of Man City, I think it's a little bit too much. But yeah, definitely a key figure for them.
I mean, is it easy to go back to the end of last season and say, well, their midfield was Gundogan, De Bruyne and Rodri, and none of them, obviously, were there today? Or has Cesc got a point that it's Man City and, you know, the squad you've got, you should be able to cope?
I'd say it's a bit of both. I kind of agree with some of what Cesc is saying, but if for whatever reason he won't play Calvin Phillips in those positions...
Does that surprise you, Sean?
Yeah, but then I also can kind of understand it.
Why?
Because Pep, he's very attention to detail, information. And if he's giving him that much, Calvin might not be able to relay it on the pitch for whatever reason, because he goes to England and he plays well all the time. But for whatever reason, when it's at City, he just doesn't play the way you should say Rodri plays, where Rodri controls the game. No matter what he plays.
Has he had an opportunity to do that, though, Sean?
It's hard, though. How do you give him that opportunity when Rodri is playing like at that level?
Yeah, but Rodri hasn't been there now for
3 games.
the last 3 games.
Yes, agreed.
Now chance. And something, for example, as an example, like yesterday we played the game. It's a completely different subject, but it means the same concept. That there was a boy, I had a lot of injuries in defense, so there was a boy that in training I just didn't trust him. I didn't give him a chance. Yesterday, for whatever reason, he had to play. He came on and he was probably man of the match. Sometimes you just need to give these people that you don't see the confidence, the opportunity.
When England got to the Euros final, Calvin Phillips was England's Player of the Year.
Yeah, agreed.
He played every minute of that tournament.
And today was that opportunity that you're referring to. You've got the main man out.
Was right on the table.
You've got now you're playing an attacking player in Bernardo Silva as a number 6. I mean, I never thought I'd see.
Well, Mikel, I'm thinking back to your pre-match interview. What was it? You said, be the team, end the wait. How proud are you that they have?
So proud. We discussed it. It was the moment, and it was with the right people, with the right players, and we had to make it happen. And there were going to be moments that we have to suffer, and we knew that. And I think the team was excellent. Individually and collectively, you need a big performance. You need the crowd to turn up and do what they've done for the team as well. So it feels like a big win.
Was the whole 90 minutes, though, a bit of a journey? Like it's almost like the crowd, the team didn't quite believe at the start, and gradually, through the match, it came and you got on top.
Yes, you are right. I think the way we started, we conceded on the corner the first chance after nothing really happens, after we grabbed the game and some control and we looked a threat. In the second half, then we started really good. We could not convert that in goals, but we were there and we were really aggressive. And then the changes, I think, really helped as well. The moment we brought the 3 lads, new energy, the quality that they produced in the goal was top.
So in that first period, what problems did they give you? It was like the start of the build-up, basically, with David Raya, wasn't it? What issues do they give you? It's like a little game of cat and mouse, isn't it?
They give you a lot. We gave them a lot of issues as well in the high press. When you see the big teams putting pressure, it's not easy to get out, and you have to read situation. You need the right timing, the right support, the right movement, and a lot of times it's not easy because the distance of those passes are big. But what I like is the courage. It doesn't happen, and keep doing it. It's the team that we are, and we have to continue to do that. And the crowd needs to understand that if not, shout at me because it's my fault.
Yeah, there was about 20, 25 minutes in, you were kind of G'ing them up, weren't you?
For sure, because you're going to have these moments against this team, and you're going to give balls away in this phase. If not, you have to kick it long every single time. But they had as well a lot of problems, and they have to be direct, and you have to manage the emotions there and make sure that you don't get caught on things that you don't want to get caught against this team, for sure.
You actually had, I think, quite a nice moment with David Raya at full time as a big hug. Can you tell us a little bit of what you said?
I think he was excellent, and he can misplace 1 or 2 passes, and I demand him to stop the ball when he needs to get clarity, to get understanding, to provoke the opponent. But then overall, the way he controlled the box, the aerial when he came on, how dominant he was, how high he played, I think he was excellent. I love players with big courage, and David certainly has big ones.
Talking of players with courage, Martinelli, 1, to get himself fit, and 2, to come on and win the game.
Another one with big ones as well, because nobody expected him to be in the team. The features weren't really having it, and he said, I'm going to be there, and yesterday he turned up, he was in training, and he said, I'm ready to go, and Leo got injured, and we needed him, and I looked, and he was already dressed up, ready to go. So it's just a joy of a kid to work.
So after the pain at the back end of last season, to obviously beat them in the Community Shield on penalties, but to beat them here today in a Premier League match, what will it do more than the 3 points?
It's just part of the journey, and you learn from every defeat, from every time that you don't get what you want. But the team is so willing, with the attitude, the application that they put in. It's just a joy to work for them, and today they deserve to live these moments, and we have to carry on.
It could have been a bit more straightforward, couldn't it? Could have been against 10 men, I think.
I don't know. I've seen the action, but that's done, and we managed to win the game, and we are all happy.
Job done. Well
Thank
done.
you.
We're ecstatic, and Gary Neville has joined us from the gantry as well. Did you see that coming?
Very little beautiful football out there today. That was, just, like I say, a big struggle for both teams. You never saw Declan Rice going forward, but you also never saw any of the great players on the pitch really achieving anything. It was City have gone to become a really dour defensive team, miserable to play against. You think of that Chelsea Mourinho team when you couldn't score a goal against them. City have become a little bit like that, and Arsenal had to be like that today. Even taking Zinchenko off, who was doing okay, by the way. Putting Tomiyasu on and becoming a big back four, putting Partey in midfield against Declan Rice, actually taking a step back to potentially go forward and becoming more solid and less attacking, won them the game. It's interesting. I think Arteta, he went up in my estimation. He's gone up in my estimations a lot over the last few years, but that was a big game to... Are you all right?
It's Mikel Arteta.
that was a big game for Mikel Arteta to win a struggle like that against Pep Guardiola.
Do you think they're better placed to win a title this year after a performance like that, more measured? And I'm not trying to put you on the spot here.
Well, I'm the only person who's actually predicted they're going to win the title.
Well, yeah. Well, what do you think?
The reason I predicted them to win the title was because I felt they got close last year, and I think they'll be close again. And I just thought there would be a treble hangover for City of what's City's cause this year. You've achieved utopia. can't do any more than winning the treble.
They could become the first side to win 4 consecutive league titles.
But when you've fought so long, so hard to win a Champions League like they have, particularly, and then you've won the treble and you've repeated what Manchester United have done, there's got to be that little bit of a. And I remember my most difficult season ever for United was the season after the treble. We did win the league, but the other teams weren't very good that season. But I had a nightmare that season. It just took so much out of me the previous season. I think there'll just be an element of these City players just having a bit taken out of them from last season. And what is their cause this season? Now, look, they've taken a couple of punches on the chin in the last couple of weeks, so they might have just been woken up early enough. And don't write Manchester City off. Absolutely not. But something's happening. Wolves, Newcastle, now Arsenal losing a game like this. So things that haven't happened too much in the past are starting to happen in front of their eyes.
More on this in just a moment. I'll bring you two in on City's possible wobble, how long-term it might be in just a moment.
The result, obviously, is disappointing. What about the performance that lay behind it?
Well, that game, we started really well with the chances, 2 or 3. Second half, they started really well. They increased the rhythm, struggle. The first 10-15 minutes, we could not have the ball, and that's always tight. And after, again, like it was a deflection goal, so they won. Congratulations, Arsenal.
What was the key to your good start? You seem to give them real problems playing out and create quite a lot of anxiety, actually, around the stadium.
Well, we tried, we did it. This type of games, there are moments. We had it in the first half. I think for both sides was not a lot of chances. Both teams, they play good and high pressing. With Raya, play their long balls and diagonal balls is not easy to control for our fullbacks with Gabriel or with the other ones. It was tight, and at the end, one action, we lost the game.
So how maybe did the match change after half-time? You made a treble change pretty early, which suggests you weren't entirely happy.
All right, 10 minutes, yeah. 12 minutes was like that, and after was equal, and we had also our moments, and it's not easy because defense is in the back, but yeah, in general we was a tight game. So, and at the end we have the chances we can do it, and unfortunately they did it.
What did you make of your play in attacking areas? Just that final third, I think there's one shot on target today.
Yeah, not much. I don't know how much they had in shoots on target, but they
not many either.
Huh?
Not many either.
Yeah, that's the point. That's the point. So they have our momentos, the rest was equal, and at the end, one action, they won.
So you seem, obviously you're disappointed, but you seem fairly relaxed, like you're playing away at the Emirates to a good team. It's a match you can lose.
Yeah, of course, we can lose in Wolves as well. So every game we have two defeats in a row. Now we have a tough schedule ahead of us, but now national team, hopefully they come back fit, without injuries, and after we refresh our minds and keep going. So Premier League is going to be tough. It's not the first time we are in that position behind the leaders. So when you went to Premier Leagues, maybe it's a little bit better, to be there and say, okay, what do you have to do to catch them, and we will try when we come back.
Is it a concern, 2 defeats in a row in the league? Is there certain things you're seeing that you're thinking, okay, that's not quite right, that's not us at our best?
Well, it happened since 2018.
Oh, I know, yeah.
So when it happened 2018, that is the news. So that's why we won a lot of Premier League. So it's happened. Unfortunately, it was the last day. But the one thing Premier League is because 2018 didn't happen. So in Wolves was a completely different game. Okay, Arsenal Emirates always is difficult, and So congratulations, Arsenal. That's what I can do, and we know exactly what you have to do, and we do it.
Last question then: is it too simple to say 3 games without Rodri, 3 defeats? Is it more complicated than that?
That is the stats, so we cannot deny it. But today we put a lot of players to have more control, to have more passes, to try to players who had the ability to do it, but they are aggressive in these areas, and after they drop really well. And we will come back, and we will continue. Of course, if he's not dead, we will play without him, and we will move forward.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thanks.
Happy about Rodri, is he? You've talked about this being an un-City-like performance, Micah, but how damaging could it be? It's not just a defeat, it's defeat to potentially your biggest title rivals.
I don't think City will panic. I don't think the players will. I don't think the manager will. They've been in this situation before. But what is worrying is Haaland's not getting the chances he was getting before. They seem to do everything well up until the final third. Look, They beat Wolves, are battered in terms of possession and stats, they had shots on goal, but they're not getting over the line. I think that they'll change. I still think City are a different beast when they have to chase a team. So I think there's no panic, no worries, but it's more just the disappointment because Rodri's a massive player. We know how good he is. I've talked about him so much, but they still should be able to deal with it without him. They've got so many good players within this squad, but he's causing so much issues not having him there.
Yeah, you talk about. I mean, there'll be a lot of talk of Rodri just because of the record without him. But I think when you're looking to feed Haaland, you obviously think of Kevin De Bruyne with precision, particularly if you've got a tight, narrow back four like Arsenal at times today. But then you also think about Jack Grealish, how he's a crosser of a ball from wide areas. We could in that right foot and he drifts those balls in. Foden's not a crosser, Alvarez is not a crosser. They're players who play differently. They sort of, Alvarez is a striker playing wide. Foden really likes to sort of jink his way in and pass the way in. Doku is, to be fair, someone who's like a sort of, box of tricks, but you don't know what's going to come at the end of it. Whereas with Grealish, it's quite predictable. He'll take it down the line, cut inside, and then there's that delivery. So him and De Bruyne not being in means that I think Sir Haaland does get starved.
This is what we're saying about the connections as well, with the friendships, like with Jack and Haaland at the start. Doku, like you say, he's frustrated as a forward because I wouldn't know when to make that run. If you chops back left, right, you put the ball in. With people like your De Bruyne's and your Jack Grealish, you know when the ball's going to come in, and it's like clockwork, and that's not quite happening right now, I feel. And I feel like Pep's a little bit concerned with the international break with the injuries. I think he's obviously with De Bruyne being out, and that players are starting to pick up these injuries to play. So I think it's really important that they all come back fit.
And you add to that they haven't got full-backs at the moment who are good crossers of the ball as well. They've gone to obviously quite a narrow back four and big back four. Guardiola at left back, and obviously Kyle Walker's brilliant, but he's just defending that right-hand side and sort of staying back. He's not really flying on that right wing.
So a mistake not to play Grealish today?
Whether you say mistake or not, he's come back from injury. Would I have brought him on the game? 100%. I think the bigger question mark for me was Alvarez has been in such good form in the centre of the pitch. And we talk about relationship. He was starting to build that relationship with Haaland, and then today he was on right, maybe for a defensive issue.
Was that a consequence of again, no Rodri and people shuffling? Bernardo Silva playing in that
We can look at it, we can analyse it, and we look at the tactics and we look at the small details. But I just thought he's been the standout player for Man City this season, along with Kyle Walker. I thought with the sort of form he would be playing in that number 10 role, and you've got to do. Every game's different. When you're playing against Arsenal and what Zinchenko's going to do, we know what he's going to do. He's either going to overlap or come inside. Maybe it was tactically because of that reason. I just thought they missed his quality today in the middle of the park.
It's interesting that we're here with Theo Walcott, who was actually one of the players with a right foot who could play on the right wing and still sort of play it. I look at a number of players now, sort of Raheem Sterling, Jadon Sancho, Alvarez today, other players that I think of with right foots that just want to play on the left. They don't want to play on that right-hand side. I'm interested to know what you think in terms of, it just doesn't seem to work. Jesus on the right-hand side just looks a bit awkward. On that right-hand side, Alvarez and Jesus doesn't work.
Do you know, it's a generation of players now that like to come in and look good, and that side of it. Like my son, I'm teaching him to go on the outside. Don't be predictable. And that's the thing. A lot of players are now being... And, I like the fact that players going in behind a lot more, just creating space for other players, and that didn't happen first half. That's what was quite sort of a negative game. I want to see more and more of that. But I think Jesus had a chance when he could have crossed it early, and he wanted to do some tricks when Eddie was making a run. And when that space is getting condensed with all of them getting back, it's hard for these players to adjust.
Well, think of Mahrez on this side and Grealish on the other, and the balls that they used to whip in with their left foot and their right foot for Haaland, along with De Bruyne as well. They've lost all of that, obviously, today. De Bruyne's out, Grealish on the bench, Mahrez gone. So they've lost a lot of what I would call predictable sort of passes into the box that Haaland can make his runs off. They haven't got that today.
Maybe some signs of a little bit of the emotion just spilling over at the end when we saw Kyle Walker react to the Arsenal set-piece coach, Nicolas Joba, who used to be at Manchester City and joined Arsenal a couple of years ago. I don't know if he's exchanging words with him or not, but Kyle Walker doesn't take too kindly to it, and Erling Haaland backs him up, and suddenly he looks like he's in the wrong battle.
A little shove there.
I mean, football players don't like set pieces full stop doing them on the training pitch, let alone the opposition set piece coach having a go.
It looked like he was going to shake his hand, didn't he? And Kyle didn't really want to.
Theo's point was they're not used to losing.
No, of course, but I mean, you know, we're in October. You know, if we was in March or April, I could understand the frustration. They probably don't want to go to Arsenal and lose, but it's not the end.
But as well, we always look at City of being very professional and not reacting in situations, and that's where I feel like a nerve's been hit here, and he's caught it there, definitely.
Bukayo Saka, the peacemaker. Let's hear what Pep Guardiola had to say about that in his press conference just a few moments ago.
There seemed to be going down the tunnel at the end, Erling Haaland, Jack Grealish and Kyle Walker involved in a bit of a row with the Arsenal stuff. Do you know anything about what happened there? No.
I know what happened, but I don't want to say anything.
Come on.
They know it.
Doesn't want to say anything. Keeping
He's
his
fuming inside.
Yeah. A bit of bad blood. These are two benches that know each other very well.
Well, Bernardo, it's a disappointment, obviously, but just how big a setback is that?
Well, it's a setback, but it's still the beginning. We're far away from the end of the season. Obviously, it was not the result that we wanted to get here. But yeah, against a tough opponent at the Emirates is never easy to play.
Did you feel in control of that match for the whole first half?
Well, we felt that the game was tough for both teams. Both teams are very good, very organised, very intense. And it could have gone both ways. In the beginning, we had a few chances. They also had one or two. Then at the end, it's a game that it's decided in a detail, in a deflection, in a moment where, in my opinion, we gave them too much time. We gave them enough time to think and to put the ball in behind, and we have to be a bit more intense in the way we press in those moments, in my opinion. But yeah, it is what it is. It's part of football, and now on to the next one.
Tell us about your role today. Certainly for the first, hour. Were you Rodri?
No, I was in the position number 6 because that's what the manager asked me to do.
How'd you find it?
No, I'm comfortable there. Obviously, it's not my natural position, but I'm comfortable there, especially with the ball. And without the ball, I was trying to be in between the centre backs and also jumping to one of their holding midfielders. So also it's something that I'm used to do. So yeah, I don't think that's a very big thing. Last season, to be honest, I was a bit more uncomfortable playing as a left back than today as a number 6, which is a position that, even though it's not mine, I'm a bit more comfortable to play there. And yeah, it is what it is. As I said, tough game for us, for especially because of the outcome, because I don't think we play that bad. But yeah, it's football.
Bit of a blip domestically, the Newcastle game in the League Cup, and then Wolves. Now this, you guys know exactly what it takes to win. So does that help you take a mini bad run a bit more in your stride?
Well, definitely some results that we weren't expecting and we didn't want them to happen. But as I said, for example, last season we won the treble, and there was a point in the season where nothing was going our way. And so you have these moments. It's the way that you overcome these moments that define the team, that define what you are, who you are, and what you can achieve in the end of the season. And we're going to keep fighting for all of the games, knowing that we have tough opponents ahead of us, but we're going for it again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But who did the job of filling in really as that defensive midfield number 6 for Manchester City today? But Rodri's missed 3 games through suspension. City have lost them all. Is that a coincidence?
No, Rodri's the best defensive midfielder, not in terms of just stopping attacks, but creating attacks as well, always in the right position. Bernardo did well in terms of getting on the ball and making things happen in the deeper area, but you need Rodri there so he can be closer. Bernardo can be closer to Haaland. He can be closer to Alvarez, to the forward-thinking players. I just think he did a job, but they needed his creativity a bit more in the forward areas.
Is this why Pep Guardiola was so angry that Rodri got himself sent off against
Well,
Forest?
to get a red card the way he did, it was out of character, let's say, for Rodri. He's normally so cool, calm and collected, but they are missing him. It's evidently there for everyone to see. Even like the control and the tempo of the game, it just normally when he's dictating to it, it's a different Man City. At the moment, they're just missing that little bit of quality in there.
Do you think that was a factor?
Yeah, I think, like I said, we did touch on it all throughout the game, really. But as well, I think they're missing De Bruyne, like you say, with Bernardo being close to Haaland. That's why a lack of sort of efforts for him today. But he does rely on De Bruyne a lot. He sees balls that not other players really see, really. And I think it's be very important for Man City to get him back as fit as they can. And as well, like even seeing the likes of Jack not even coming on today, which is strange for me. I'm a big fan of his, so I like to see sort of attacking players that want to be positive on the ball. So, but De Bruyne for me is a big miss, along with Rodri as well. Yes.
Derek Ray here on the commentary box, joined as always by former England defender Lee Dixon. I'm very much looking forward to bringing you action from the Premier League. It is Manchester City versus Arsenal.
Yeah, great to be here. How lucky are we, Derek? We get paid for this. Astonishing, really. Looking forward to a fabulous game. I'm sure the fans are too. Should be great.
And so the starting 11 for Manchester City. Ederson stands between the posts. Kevin De Bruyne plays with Rodri in central midfield. And the main forward is Can he finish? And able to get a body in the way. And the ball with De Bruyne. And he's making... And still a chance. And the goalkeeper covered a lot of ground to push that away from danger. And a poor ball. Mahrez. And that's gone out of play for what will be a goal kick. Sloppy in possession from Arsenal. Gabriel Jesus. Gundogan. Arsenal have it back. Dangerous looking through ball. Is it going to be? Can he put them in front? Oh no, he's missed the opportunity, and they remain level.
Well, he found himself in a great position, but he couldn't find the finish.
Ruben Diaz. Gundogan. Gabriel Jesus now. Mahrez. And after that fantastic effort, it's gone out for a throw-in. And players waiting in the centre. The referee has given a corner. And now the delivery. It comes to nothing in the end. Stones. And you need your defender to take charge. He's driven in the corner. And an effective clearance. De Bruyne.